Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and Happy New Year. We have a super exciting special Christmas edition episode ahead of us, so don't go anywhere. Today we're going to be talking about some of the history behind one of the most popular Christmas carols ever, the amazing story of the Magi, and some of our favorite Christmas memories growing up. So let's kick it off with a brief history of the Christmas carol Joy to the World. This was one of my favorite Christmas carols growing up because it was probably because I could literally take my one finger and just go da 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 da, on the piano, and it was really easy. But a lot of people don't know that Joy to the World was actually
the greatest Christmas song of all time. Actually.
Well, it's pretty good. I think it's pretty good.
The definitive, absolute best Christmas song of all time.
Yeah. But what they don't know is it wasn't intentionally written as a Christmas carol. It wasn't even.
I take back what I just said.
Yeah. It actually wasn't written as a song.
Really?
Either. Yeah, it wasn't. It was written as a poem by Isaac Watts in the 1700s, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it was from his book, The Psalms of David.
Huh.
He literally wrote all of the Psalms of David in a poem-like format, and this poem was based on Psalm 98, which is a prophecy. This is the part that is kind of crazy. It's not because it's not it's not technically a Christmas themed poem. It's a prophecy of the second coming of Jesus.
Really?
Yeah, so it's actually about the return of Christ instead of, and so like let's.
So what you're telling me is that the greatest Christmas song of all time isn't actually a Christmas song.
Exactly.
Wow. So
let me read through some of the lyrics and listen to it with that context, with that understanding. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the earth, the Savior reigns. Let men their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy. No more let sins and sorrows grow, nor thorns infest the ground. He comes to make his blessings flow, far as the curse is found. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness and wonders of his love. So, there we have it. It's actually about the second coming of Jesus, which I don't know. I just think that's awesome. It's kind of a cool, interesting fact about the song. Speaking of the Christmas carol Joy to the World, we just released our new apparel line of Joy to the World t-shirts, sweaters, and hoodies if you want to check them out on the bonfire.com store. They're all themed after that song, and you can click the link found in this video, and you can check it out. Maybe if you want to gift it to somebody, it would be a great Christmas gift. So it helps us, obviously. If you want to also donate at the end of your purchase, continue to raise up leaders who are going to go and make disciples. So next thing we're going to talk about is the incredible journey of the Magi.
I thought you were going to say Homeward Bound.
No, not Homeward Bound. Although I was going to share a little bit about Homeward Bound because I think it relates a little bit. Okay, but I enjoy the story of the Magi following the Christmas star.
Bit of a weird story.
It is an interesting story. It's only found in one gospel, the Gospel of Matthew, and it is kind of a weird story, It actually, I think it might be one of my favorite parts of the Christmas story, honestly. Just the idea of these guys.
The three kings coming.
Yeah. And maybe it was more than three kings. Maybe it was only two. I don't know.
It's true, yeah. It doesn't.
It could have been 5, could have been 6. It could have been a
12.
bunch. Yeah. We don't know.
Yeah.
So there were definitely It's definitely an interesting story. They travel who knows how far to find this newborn king, you know?
Totally.
It reminds me, I kind of wanted to talk about like Homeward Bound though, because it reminds me of that movie a little bit, you know? Growing up, there was this movie, or this book that was made about this movie, and it's about two dogs and a cat, and their owner leaves them at this ranch because they're moving to this new place. This family's moving to this new place, and they can't bring the two dogs and cat with them. But I guess they're hoping they're going to be able to bring them at some point, you know, later on. So they didn't just leave them there, you know, and give them away.
Yeah, they were going to
Yeah.
pick them up again.
Yeah, but basically the two dogs and cat, they think that something's wrong and they need to go find their owner, and they just want to, you know, they basically leave.
To find them.
They leave the ranch and they go and try to find their owners and make their way home. The movie's called Homeward Bound, and it's just the story's basically about them journeying back to their owners. You know,
The amazing thing is, it's a true story. Yeah. I'm kidding.
no, it's not a true story. It's not a true story. But you know, the thing that is crazy is there is a true story about a cat that it was actually last year. I think either last year or this year. There was a cat that traveled over 800 miles from Yellowstone National Park to make its way back to its family in California.
That's wild. Yeah, that's wild. How did the cat even know? Like, how did it know how to
Well,
get
that's
back?
the thing that I think is kind of crazy. It's like, how does it know which way to go?
Okay, so the Homeward Bound is kind of a true story.
Yeah, I mean, there's truth. I think that animals, intuitively, it's like...
It could have happened.
It could have happened.
It could have.
It could have happened, you know.
Okay.
But let's relate it back to
Sorry.
the Bible, the Magi, okay?
Yeah.
In the Christmas story, you know, we see men who are considered to most likely specialize in astronomy, astrology, and natural science. And they're traveling from the east, following a star they had been watching in the sky. Okay? And it's understood that, you know, they believe that this star is a sign of a new king that was born.
Do you think this star was like a planet or something? Or what was it?
There is that, like, Star of Bethlehem documentary that the guy, he's talking about it, and he has this, like, software where he can go back and look at exactly...
Predict the constellations?
Yeah, like, it shows exactly where the constellations were, and it was, like... I think it was, like, the planet Jupiter and another planet, like, coming together.
To kind of form a...
And so there is kind of that idea that was what happened.
It could possibly be that.
Yeah. And so I think that there's probably some, you know...
That's pretty wild.
I think that could be true, you know. But at this time in history, you know, kings and rulers, they actually used to consult magi, these astronomers or astrologers who watched the stars, and made predictions about battles, death, or the rise of rulers and kings, and they would pay homage to new rulers with frankincense or incense or gifts.
So it was common for them to.
So this was part of
gifts.
kind of that culture in the East, like in Babylon.
Wow.
So
to pay their respects and homage to another king.
And what's interesting is Daniel is actually over, you know, the Wisemen at a certain point, you know. But this was something that happened with Alexander the Great when he entered Babylon, and it's noted by Diodorus of Sicily. Yeah, who was an ancient Greek historian. The Babylonian celestial diviners made predictions about the victory of Persia as well as other events. Just looking at like the stars and stuff, there was like they
were like predicting
an eclipse. You know, they'd see an eclipse and they'd think, oh, like it's something bad's gonna happen. Okay, so they were like making these predictions. You know, so obviously something. You know, I think it's important that to note that, you know, obviously we're not condoning the use of, the practice of like astrology per se, which I think astrology in terms of like what the way people use it nowadays with like the zodiac signs and stuff like that, like that's not okay. That's evil.
Occultish.
Yeah, that's occultic.
It's not good.
But I do think that like God created, it says in the Word, He created the sun, the moon, and the stars for times and for seasons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And those the word in the Hebrew for that is literally means for the feasts. You know what I mean, and for certain events. Yeah, and so it was a way to help them keep track of when things were gonna be taking place.
Okay. So there's a good astrology and there's a bad astrology. No,
I don't know. Like, I don't know if we're not gonna put. Yeah, we're not gonna put it that way.
I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. But so, anyways,
I see what you're saying. I do see what you're saying. Yeah.
But I think one of the things about the story of the Magi, going to find Jesus, that really like fascinates me the most is it says when they come to Jerusalem and they go right to King Herod because they're like, oh, this is probably, and I'm assuming they're thinking King Herod had a son and it must be the new king that's been born. This is going to be the next king. But that obviously that's not what happens. And they come and they're like, where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star in the east and have come to worship him. When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. Okay? And I think sometimes we can read over that part. What kind of fascinates me the most here is it says, King Herod was troubled, and all of Jerusalem with him.
Yeah.
They literally, all of Jerusalem, the priests, the high priests, they heard about this new king that has been born. They've been waiting for the Messiah. They're praying for the Messiah. And when they actually tell the Magi where the Messiah is going to be born, after reading from the book of Micah, they tell him that he's going to be born in Bethlehem. Only the Wisemen are the ones that actually go to welcome the Messiah. You know what I mean? I just think that's kind of crazy. You have all of Jerusalem.
It says all of Jerusalem.
Huh.
That's interesting. Yeah.
And it's Jerusalem. The other thing that's crazy is Jerusalem's only like, I want to say like 7.5 miles from Bethlehem.
From Bethlehem, yeah.
It's not even that far. And these guys who they travel probably hundreds of miles, maybe further than that, and they get to Jerusalem, and not only the rest of Jerusalem can't even go 7.5 miles to welcome the Messiah.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, they don't know where he is, but
well, they know they said he's going to be born in Bethlehem.
Well, they knew he'd be born in Bethlehem,
but they don't know where he is.
Yeah.
But it just kind of, I think the thing in the story for me that I feel like God really highlights is we have to, when we're seeking Him, if we seek Him with the mindset of I'm not going to stop till I find you, we're going to find Him.
Yeah.
And I think that's really what it was for them. They're like, we are going to find the new king, and I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're. I'm guessing, and I think Jesus, says this in when he is among his people, the Jews. There just wasn't faith, really, to believe that he was who he said he was, and they were praying for the Messiah. But I don't know. Maybe there just wasn't the faith that he really would come at that time in that age.
Yeah. What is that passage in Isaiah that talks about that's supposed to be that prophecy?
You talking about
the wise men coming?
Talking about Isaiah 9?
No, I think it's in All right, hold on. It's in Isaiah 60. Hold on.
Isaiah 60. Really? Okay.
Yeah. So it says, "Arise." This is Isaiah 60, starting in verse 1. "Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. For behold, darkness will cover the earth, and deep darkness the peoples. But the Lord will rise upon you, and his glory will appear upon you. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising. Raise your eyes all around and see. They all gather together, they come to you. Your sons will come from afar, and your daughters will be carried on the hip. Then you will see and be radiant, and your heart will thrill and rejoice, because the abundance of the sea will be turned to you. The wealth of the nations will come to you, a multitude of camels will cover you. The young camels of Midian and Ephah, all those from Sheba will come. They will bring gold and frankincense and proclaim good news of the praises of the Lord."
Oh, interesting.
Well,
That's good. That's a good passage. I didn't see that there. What I was looking at.
I think that's why they think the Wisemen were kings. It may be because of
what it's saying there.
Yeah, because it mentions like,
and
the
that's possible.
king
Yeah,
is coming to him.
that is definitely possible. Yeah, I was reading in Micah 5 where the passage that tells them where the Messiah is going to be born. He's which is in Micah 5:2. And when you look at that passage, it says, "But as for you, Bethlehem, Ephrathah, too little to be among the clans of Judah, from you one will go forth for me to be ruler in Israel." And this is the part that kind of like, I thought was really cool. It says, "His goings forth are from long ago, from days of eternity." And I think that that's obviously like a clear sign of who he was going to be.
Yeah.
We're talking about God.
Yeah.
Is coming in the flesh.
Yeah.
Who else has been from eternity?
No one.
No one.
No one
Yeah,
other than
exactly.
God
And
himself.
so I think that was just something that I think it was fascinating me as I
Yeah.
was looking into it a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's lots of interesting, when you start digging into some of the Christmas story, there's lots of like really interesting facts there.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest stories ever told.
Oh, it is. I mean,
It's
I think it is the greatest story
Yeah.
ever told,
The thing that bothers me now, though, is now I don't know what the greatest Christmas song is. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have a replacement
Yeah.
you can give us here
Instead of Joy to the World?
Instead of Joy to the World, like I don't know. Maybe
I mean, Silent Night is
good.
Silent Night's a pretty awesome song.
It's a good song.
I think everybody loves Silent Night,
Holy Night, oh holy night.
There's some that should not even ever be sung again.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like what? Like that should just never be
yeah.
sung.
Last Christmas.
Oh,
I mean,
oh, I see what you're
come
saying.
on.
I thought you were saying like these songs are so holy.
Oh,
They're
no,
so sacred.
no.
They should
No,
never
there's
be
some
sung.
that are
Like
just
Last Christmas.
that are just not holy.
Yeah.
No, there's some songs that they just should never. We should just be like, yeah, that was not a good idea.
Forget
not
that
a good
they ever
idea.
existed.
Yeah,
I know
probably. But no, what do you think your favorite Christmas memory is?
My favorite,
Like just growing up, or even
I don't
just in
know.
recent years. Like, what do you feel like?
I don't know. I mean, Christmas has always been so much fun. It's always been so
Yeah.
much fun. I think one of the things that I always remembered was having bacon on Christmas
Bacon.
morning. Like we never had bacon
Yeah.
growing up. We just never had bacon for breakfast or anything
Mhm.
like that. But Dad would always make a really nice breakfast.
We didn't
Christmas
have
morning.
bacon like
Yeah.
year round, but on Christmas
But
you're
on
saying
Christmas,
yes.
But on
Yes.
Christmas, he would make bacon. He would make like a really nice breakfast with
Yeah.
some bacon, and it was I loved it.
I do remember. Christmas morning, like the breakfast was next level.
It was awesome. Yeah, it was.
It was next level. It was really good. As a kid, you look forward to the presents, and you're like, you're really excited about the gifts, and you.
But also, our dad was he's an amazing cook.
Yeah.
He's an amazing cook, and he always puts out this massive spread.
Yeah.
And he goes way overboard, and it's always amazing. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I remember that too.
it was really good. And then we'd sit down and we'd read Luke 2,
Yeah.
and we'd talk, and he would just talk about the Christmas story. And
of course, as a kid, like, that story just took forever
yeah,
to get over.
it did. It was Luke 2 is so long. It really is. It's a great chapter, but as a kid, you're just like,
I want to get to the presents.
Yeah.
Because you had to sit there and listen to the story first.
Yeah.
Before you could open the presents.
Yeah.
You couldn't just like run down the stairs and tear open your presents.
No. Yeah.
No, you had to wait you had to eat breakfast first, and then you had to, sit down, listen to that story.
Yeah.
The Christmas story from Luke 2, and then after that, then we all opened presents one by one.
Yep.
So
I remember we were living in South Africa, and my parents had us make popcorn. And I remember my brother John and brother John was dressed up as Santa Claus.
I remember this.
And my brother John's a very skinny guy. It was like
to stuff some pillows.
Yeah, we had to stuff some pillows in his suit to kind of, make him fit the character. And I was dressed up as like an elf. And we were going to go deliver some like bags of popcorn to some people that lived in a village near us. And we wanted to just bless them, and
yeah.
I just remember that experience, like going down to this village. We're handing out popcorn and stuff, and these people were so excited. They were so excited to receive.
Yeah.
And but I just remember thinking years later, just thinking about it, and just my parents, like our parents, like kind of instilling the mission in us, of
just blessing others.
Yeah, blessing others, and it's not about just receiving, like at Christmas time. It's learning to give. Just
so much fun to give.
It is, and to see the joy of people as they receive, it was that I think just kind of blew me away as a kid. I was probably 11 years old, and just learning that lesson of it is just such a blessing to actually. It is better to give than to receive. Yeah. So this Christmas season, we just pray blessings on everyone all over the world, wherever you are. Obviously we know that Christmas, it gets so caught up in consumerism and wanting this or that, or
the commercialism of Christmas, all that stuff.
But it's about him. It's about what he's done. To think that he came and gave himself. He came,
humbled himself.
Yeah.
To a little baby.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And was laid in a manger. To be humbled, to humble himself in that way is just it's amazing. It really is. And so let's just, this Christmas, I just pray that you would receive him in that way. He gave himself for us. And let us walk in a manner worthy of our King. And so we just pray blessings on you this Christmas. We just thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Keystone Project podcast. And we just wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thanks for tuning in with us. If you want to know more about the Keystone Project and how you can support our ministry or launch disciple-making movements in the nations, go to keystoneproject.org or find us on all the major social media platforms.